guys, it's Monday, and that means it's time for Mentorship Monday. Thank you for watching, by the way. And if you guys have real estate questions, you want to submit to Mentorship Monday, you want to email this to helpme@DeRosaGroup.com. That is helpme@DeRosaGroup.com, and we will take those questions and we will answer them right here on the YouTube channel on Mondays for Mentorship Monday for you and for others to watch and learn from. So it's helpme@DeRosaGroup.com. Today's question comes from Jonathan, who is originally from Costa Rica but has moved to the U.S. Because his father passed. I'm very sorry to hear about your father, Jonathan. And you are here in St. Lucie County in Florida. So it sounds like Jonathan's living in a duplex. And perhaps that's something you purchased, or perhaps that's something that was an inheritance or whatnot. But Jonathan is looking to ramp up his real estate game. Great, congratulations, and wants to talk about construction of multifamily to purchase, to build out and own versus buying existing multifamily. So I got to tell you, I've looked at this myself, and unfortunately, where I am in New Jersey, it doesn't make a ton of sense, although it's starting to break to the point where it does, because rents have gone up here and prices have gotten a little more reasonable on construction costs and things like that. So you got to weigh out the numbers. And there's some parts of the world where building apartment buildings or building rentals, even small stuff like you're talking about a 5 unit here, but that kind of scales up to larger stuff too. There's parts of the world where it doesn't make sense, and parts of the US where it doesn't make sense, and there's parts where it does. The governing factors are obviously what rents you can get from the building, what you would pay for the land, and what you would pay for construction. You've got to extrapolate all those things out and put them into a spreadsheet and say, okay, I'm purchasing the land for this. It's going to cost me this to build the building, and this when all the smoke clears and the building's done, and you compare that to the cost of purchasing an existing apartment building and doing some renovations to bring it up to snuff. Most of the time, building a new building is going to be more expensive, but the way that you want to look at that is you could probably command higher rents because you can build to a higher standard and make it a premium product. It's going to be more affordable to do that than it is to take an existing apartment building that's defunct and maybe it's got some outdated features and to do a gut renovation on that building, unless you get it for an absolute song, and then you can build it up from there and make it a premium product. So you want to weigh all these things out and put in, maybe a little above market rents that you would get for your new construction building and all the construction, and see if you get the return that you want to see in doing that. So some guidance that you should do, you say here in the email you're looking to do a 5 unit apartment building. Maybe a little on the small side. You might find that for the cost, you may need to scale up a bit larger and go to a 10 or a 15 unit, because you're going to have to pay for zoning and engineering and architects and things like that to design the structure, which is pretty much going to be a flat fee whether or not you're doing a 5 unit or a 10 unit building. And so I would consider going larger so that you can spread those costs out across a larger building. You don't have to go to a 50 unit, but maybe scale up a bit more than a 5 unit building into something a bit larger. Second piece of advice is look at modular construction. I think that's fairly common in Florida, although I haven't done any work in Florida, but look at modular construction. A lot of reasons why that's of interest, and for all you other folks watching, you should consider that in your part of the world. If it's done frequently where you are, here in the Northeast, it's done very commonly because a lot of the factories are just across the bridge in Pennsylvania from us. So a lot of people do modular here, and they may be doing that in Florida as well. I've heard that they do. You can normalize your cost of construction. It's very predictable, and you can also, most importantly, get the boxes very quickly to build an apartment building. And then this modular company might even have a model for a small apartment building already designed. You don't have to pay the design fees. You can go to them and maybe buy something right off the shelf for, quote unquote, off the shelf, like they've got an apartment building sitting on the shelf. But you know what I'm saying? They've got a design sitting there. They can just pull and plug and play for you. So I would consider that as well. And so these are all the different factors. But again, bottom line, Jonathan, is you want to weigh out the cost and shop the market for a existing apartment building and what rents you can get, and then you want to shop for what the cost of new construction would be, and just put them in a little spreadsheet and put them up next to each other to see which one seems to make more fiscal sense. And the biggest thing I haven't talked about yet is the land cost, is what you can get that land for. If you've got the land for next to nothing, or if you can get a landowner to partner with you on the deal, to contribute their land to your project at low or no cost, and maybe give them some skin in the game on the apartment building, or refinance the building when you're built to pay them out on the back end, then that's a great way to go about it. And that's kind of a quasi joint venture, and you got to have lawyers involved in that. But it's a good way to get the landowner to contribute the land to your project. If you can't do that, you got to watch how much you pay for the land to build this building. So a lot of chunks of information in there in this Mentorship Monday, guys. This is a good one, Jonathan. So good luck to you. And just building apartment buildings is an interesting topic, and I think that it'll become more and more common as we move forward, and as rents, I think, continue to creep up. It's my crystal ball prediction. That's probably not worth much, but that's what I think things are going to happen, and I think it'll cause more and more build out of these things. So um, anyway, guys, that's it. Thank you for watching, and again, help me at DeRosaGroup.com. That's help me at DeRosaGroup.com if you want to submit questions to get answered here on the YouTube page. Thank you, Jonathan, coming to us from Florida and then from Costa Rica before that. So we do appreciate your question, and thank you guys for watching, and have a great and profitable week.